Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are in a roundtable session for the IREB Special Interest Group of Sustainability. And today we will be talking in a round about the survey that we did last year. We also have a survey up this year, but we want to just share our results. We have some very interesting things to say about what we discovered. We identified very interesting things about how sustainability is considered in requirements engineering practice or in software engineering in general. And in this round, I would just like to talk to the people here about what we found and what the impact is of these results. So get ready for a very interesting session. I have three people here who are part of the special interest group. I'm heading that group, but we also have the managing director of IREB actively participating, as well as two members who are part of the team that has prepared and conducted the survey together with us. So I would just like to do a round of introductions first of this team. Stan, would you like to begin?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Eddy, for the introduction of the roundtable. So my name is Stan Bühne. I'm the managing director of IREB, and so for I think 2 years ago, something like this, we introduced the special interest groups, and one of them is the topic of sustainability. This is also a topic of my heart because I think we need to be more sustainable and more, let's say, aware of these topics also in digital solutions. And I'm happy to be here today, Eddy. Thanks.
All right, then let's continue with Melanie.
Yes, thank you. I'm Melanie Gertschen. I'm a PhD candidate at the University of Bern, and I'm working on digital sustainability in information systems, which can be the green IT, like sustainability of the IT itself, but also when we use IT for a sustainable goal.
Wonderful, thank you. And Nitish.
Thanks, Eddy. Hello, my name is Nitish Patkar. I did my PhD 4 years ago from University of Bern. I live in Bern. And since then, I'm working as a senior researcher at the University of Applied Sciences and Arts, Northwestern Switzerland, or short FHNW. My research lies at the intersection of software engineering, requirements engineering, and digital sustainability. And I collaborate a lot with many people in the room.
Thank you so much. All right, as you see, we have a QR code to our special interest group on screen. So if you would like to check us out, this is the link to our website where we provide some more information. Now let's go into the details. As I said, we've conducted a survey and we really want to do a continuous study where we look each year what the progress is. Last year was the first year, so now we're giving a first impression of what the landscape is like. And our goal is also to understand what does the requirements engineering and digital design community need in order to consider sustainability better. This is why we've conducted this survey, and that also means that we will basically taking two perspectives here. First, we will present some outcomes. Nitish and Melanie have prepared a very interesting slideshow, which we will get into first. After that, Stan will also reflect on what that means for IREB, what the conclusions are that we drew from that. And after that, we have ample time for questions. You might see that there's a chat button. Please click it and type in your questions. We would be happy to get those questions, but note that these will be answered after we've done the presentation and the reflection. All right, that said, I would say let's get into it. Nitish and Melanie, the floor is yours.
Good. So I'm going to share my screen. I hope you see it. Just okay.
Yes.
So right now it's visible to you, right? Super. So thank you so much, Eddy. Also, hello everyone again, and also welcome from my side. As Eddy said, so this is the first edition of the survey. We intend it to be a recurring longitudinal study, which means we really plan it to do every year. And as Eddy also mentioned, the 2026 version is also already online. But before we get into that, what we really want to understand is where the software engineering community actually stands when it comes to sustainability. not just in theory, but really in everyday practice. What do really practitioners know? What do organizations support? And where are the gaps? So let me walk you through what we found. But before even we go into the results, let's talk a little bit about the survey structure itself. So how did we actually prepare the survey? As we said earlier, we had a very clear goal to explore how sustainability is, first of all, perceived, well, it's integrated, and then considered across various software engineering roles and different kinds of, let's say, IT organizations. The survey consisted of, in total, 32 questions, and these were organized into 4 sections: demographic, general awareness about sustainability, some organizational aspects, then individual roles and tasks where sustainability is considered. Overall, it was designed to take about, let's say, 10 to 12 minutes to complete. Again, so this is the first edition of the survey. The second edition is already active right now. The data we are presenting today is the baseline, the starting point against which we will then track the trends going forward. Good. What you see right now on the screen on the left is the QR code to the survey of 2025, or the results of the survey of 2025. And we built a very fantastic dashboard for exploring these results. And on the right-hand side, you see a sneak peek of how that dashboard looks like. It is very self-explanatory, so I encourage you to go ahead and just explore. In the chat, we will also provide the link to the survey, and those who want to take a very quick look, they can just scan the QR code. All right. So before I really start with the structure of the survey, let's talk a little bit about, or let me quickly anchor us on what we really mean by digital sustainability, because the term means different things to different people, and that ambiguity is actually part of what we are studying in the end. So there are 2 parts of the definition. Sustainable software refers to the sustainability of software itself, its carbon footprint, for example, its resource consumption, or like how Melanie called it earlier, green IT. The second part is sustainable by software, which refers to software designed to create positive sustainability impacts, which means tools that help individuals or organizations achieve their sustainability goals. And sustainability itself is quite multidimensional. And we know this, it has been established for a while. We know this from Karlskrona Manifesto. There are frameworks like Sustainability Awareness Framework, or we call it SUSAF. And when we talk about sustainability, we're actually talking about 5 different dimensions. And these are environmental, social, economic, individual, and technical. And all these 5 dimensions, so these are not separate concerns. So they are quite interconnected. And as an example, maybe like reducing a system's energy footprint is, of course, environmental. But like we know, every software system also has some economic and social implications. So when we talk about sustainability in this survey, we talk about all these 5 dimensions. And all our respondents, they were actually made aware of this setting. So this framing sets the lens through which we actually interpret all our findings. Okay, so let me give you a quick overview of the survey structure and now who participated. As I said earlier, we had a total of 32 questions, and these were organized into 4 thematic blocks. The first 6 questions covered demographics, which means questions like country, role, or professional roles, what are their experience levels, what kind of organizations they work at, what are the sizes of those organizations, those kind of questions. The next 6 questions, they address general awareness of respondents or participants. For example, their familiarity with the concept of sustainability, whether people have received any sustainability-related training, how often even sustainability is discussed in their organizations, those kind of things. Then we had 11 questions on organizational aspects. For example, what measures, goals, or let's say reporting mandates exist in their organizations, whether companies have a CSR department, whether there is any customer or client demand for sustainability. We wanted to explore that. Finally, 7 questions focused on the individual level of the participants within their roles. So how practitioners personally integrate sustainability into their daily tasks. What drives them? Is it really personal conviction, or is there more than that? What gets in the way? What are the challenges? And also, what are the tools or methods or frameworks they use? So this structure gives us a layered picture from individual up through the organization. Good. So in total, we received 162 responses. After removing incomplete and invalid entries, our final analysis is based on 131 valid responses, which is quite a decent number for such a survey and for the start. The sample or the number of respondents, it spans 21 countries, which is fantastic. A little more than half, about 58% of the respondents are from the DACH region, which means basically from Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, the German-speaking part of Europe. The vast majority come from Europe overall. What's particularly notable about this sample is its seniority. So a little less than half, about 46% of the respondents are 45 years old or even older. And almost about the same, which is 45%, have more than 20 years of professional experience. So these are senior practitioners who have been in the field for a long time and who have probably watched the sustainability conversation evolve over a long period of time. How we recruited all these participants? Well, through LinkedIn, mailing lists, and our own professional networks. Now, let's take a look at the role breakdown more closely. The largest group, 41% of respondents, are actually in requirements engineering, business analysis, or product ownership, PO roles. And this isn't really surprising because this is partly a reflection of our commitment and collaboration through IREB. But this also makes it quite interesting. And why is that? So RE practitioners are the ones who are in a position to translate end user and customer needs or even organizational goals into system specifications. And if sustainability is going to be built into software, this is where it will start. So we find it very interesting that actually 41% of the respondents, they are in RE roles. The second largest group is researchers and educators, almost 1/5 of the respondents. And this wasn't even surprising because many of us who actually shaped the survey are also working as researchers. And of course, we approached our colleagues. Beyond roles, a little more than half, 53% of the respondents work in some sort of IT consulting. And the majority are employed at some kind of large organizations, meaning having, let's say, more than 1,000 employees. Good. With that picture of who we actually surveyed, let's move into what we actually found. And with that, I'll then ask kindly that Melanie then continues from here onwards.
Yes, thank you, Nitish. We are coming now to our key findings for the survey 2025. And let's start with some quick insights. First, 54% of participants said that they are familiar with the concept of digital sustainability. This shows that more than a half already have a basic understanding, but there's still room to grow. Second, only 17% of the participants reported that they have actually received training on digital sustainability, which shows a gap between this awareness and formal education. And finally, 42% of the participants said they consider sustainability in their day-to-day tasks. So while many people are familiar with digital sustainability, fewer actively apply this principle in their daily work. Overall, these results highlight an important opportunity. Increasing training and providing knowledge could help bridge this gap. And actually, this is one of the goals of our special interest group at IREB. And before we go into more detail, let's take a closer look at how sustainability is reflected in role-specific tasks. As a special interest group of IREB, focusing on the requirements engineering, we were interested in how sustainability is integrated in daily work practices. And this slide reveals that there are clear differences between the roles. Requirements engineers appear to be the group that least likely incorporates sustainability, with a huge number of no answers, like 30 and 15 yes responses in this area. In contrast, roles such as research and management show higher levels of integration. And the main barrier for non-integrators is a lack of knowledge or awareness, while those who do integrate sustainability primarily request practical guidance and resources. So the next slide shows how often sustainability is discussed within organizations. Sustainability is rarely a regular topic within organizations, with most discussions happening only occasionally or not at all. In fact, 65% of respondents say sustainability is discussed only every few months or never, highlighting a clear lack of consistent attention for this topic. And only a small portion report monthly, weekly, or daily discussions, indicating that sustainability is not yet embedded in routine business conversations. And building on this, let's look at the organizational level. We asked whether organizations provide training or resources to employees on sustainable software development, if they define specific digital sustainability goals, integrate sustainable practices in the software development, report on sustainability, or have dedicated corporate social responsibility or sustainability expert teams. And most organizations provide limited sustainability support, especially when it comes to training and resources. While some structures like corporate sustainability reporting, sustainability responsibility representatives and sustainability reporting exists, they are not consistently translated into practical guidance. It is also important to highlight the huge gray part with the not sure responses, which indicate that many employees are unaware of whether their company has sustainability goals, software development practices that enhance sustainability, and they do not know if such initiatives even exist. Overall, there is a gap between organizational intent and actionable support for employees. And looking beyond the organization, let's consider external drivers. There is little evidence of strong external demand for sustainability, with 73% reporting that customers never or only rarely request it. And this suggests that sustainability is not a key purchasing criterion, often overshadowed by cost and lower customer awareness. So then this brings us up back to the topic of training. Sustainability training is largely absent, but not primarily due to cost constraints. The most common reason cited by the majority of respondents is simply a lack of awareness that such programs even exist. And this is then followed by limited availability of training within organizations and a lack of opportunity to attend. Overall, the results show that improving visibility and access to training could have a greater impact than focusing on the budget alone. And then we will have a look at the individual level. So how does this translate to the individual level? Among the 55 participants who actively integrate sustainability, the main driver is personal conviction rather than external pressure. In fact, 93% of practitioners who integrate sustainability cite their own beliefs as the main motivation, while organizational, legal, and customer pressures play a smaller role. And at the same time, 53% do not integrate sustainability at all, highlighting a huge potential in this area. So then we were interested in what is missing, what we need to close this gap. So we asked our participants what resources would help to integrate sustainability. They identified practical guidance as the most important resource for integrating sustainability, with 73% requesting how-to materials. Case studies and theoretical knowledge are also highly valued, each cited by 55% of the respondents. And additionally, tools, checklists, and environmental or social resources are seen as helpful by around the half of the participants. Notably, more experienced respondents tend to prefer case studies, while younger professionals seek more hands-on tools and concrete guidance. And then let me briefly summarize our key takeaways. We see a clear pattern. Awareness of sustainability mostly exists, but it is not consistently translated into actions. Organizations often lack structured support, training, or communication, while customer demand remains rather low. And as a result, sustainability today is largely driven by individual motivation rather than systemic implementation. And to move forward, organizations need to bridge the gap between intention and execution by providing accessible training, practical tools, and clear guidance. And this is also where we as a special interest group want to help and get active so that we can make a real difference. And our practitioner survey is now open for 2026. Feel free to share the link also with others, and we appreciate your participation.
Thank you very much, Melanie, and also Nitish, for your great presentation. I hope for the listeners that this is giving a very good bird's eye view on what we found. We found many things, and this is just basically the gist of the findings and the things that we found most important to convey. We are looking into publishing the results, of course. So you will be able to also read about our results, but you also have access to our dashboard, so you can always look at the results that we have right now. And all right, so that means we have this information. For us, it was very important as a special interest group to get this information, to know how practitioners perceive sustainability, and especially how sustainability has permeated into their work practice. Now, we have a multidisciplinary team. We have researchers who worked on this, but also practitioners, one of them being Stan Bühne. And he, in addition to being currently the managing director of IREB, has in the past also worked as a consultant. So he is very well capable of interpreting what does this mean? What does this mean for the field of requirements engineering? But also specifically, what does this mean for IREB and how we can serve the requirements engineering community with the right tools, the right mechanisms to bridge the gap? As you said earlier, there is a lot of interest, but not enough knowledge or not enough availability of the knowledge. So what does that mean? And so I would now like to go over to Stan and hear what he has to say about this.
Great, thanks Eddy, and also thanks Melanie and thanks Nitish also for preparing the survey and for presenting the results. I mean, for me, it shows there's kind of room for improvement, so to say. I mean, when looking to the results, it's reflecting, the fear that I had, and when looking back to my experience from the consulting time before joining IREB, this was exactly where the, let's say, practitioners and also where organizations are working at. So mostly there is no clear awareness of sustainability. I also heard this at different conferences when talking to people on this topic, that they just say, in my organization, for sure, they do some kind of reporting for the CO2 footprint or for carbon footprint, but there is not that much awareness on sustainability on the working level. And I think when looking to requirements engineering and to whatever digital design or for, let's say, shaping new products, from my perspective, we have a big role in this area, and also a kind of impact in this area. And this is something I think we should make people aware, that we, as, doesn't matter how you call yourself, requirements engineer, business analyst, whatever, if you are, let's say, working on the product, but if you're designing new products, then just reflect what does this mean on these different dimensions of sustainability, on carbon footprint, on the people dimension, on this society dimension, but also, and this is for instance interesting for your business. What does this mean on the business dimension? Because if you save capacity for, let's say, storing data, for running processes that are not used, for collecting data that is maybe collected in a quality that's not necessary. Let's for instance go for pictures for a web store or something like this. Then this has a direct impact also on the business case and also on the costs on the business side. And here, in my perception, this is something that needs to be created and shaped or designed in the very beginning. Otherwise, this just happens. So this is, for me, one big outcome, that we need to create more awareness. And then, step two, providing, let's say, kind of techniques, tools that are so easy or easy enough for helping people that they can use this in their daily business.
All right, so it is clear that we in requirements engineering need to change our mindset. We've discussed that before in a roundtable. I don't think we should focus too much on, okay, the results show that, there's a lot of room for improvement. You could also say it's not good, but I see it also very positively that we're working hard on creating solutions, and also to indeed helping the requirements engineering and digital design community to have the right tools and the right knowledge to be able to find training or the right techniques and other things that are already there. Stan, can you say a little bit about the things that we've already worked on?
Yes, of course. So what we are currently doing is, so we make a kind of collection of, let's say, different techniques that exists, and also maybe learning material, frameworks, platforms, and all this stuff in the special interest group, just having a collection. So we are planning to have this on GitHub. Currently, we have some of these elements already clustered on our website, but the main idea is having a kind of public GitHub where, for instance, slides are given that are used, for instance, from universities or from other parties, videos, but also, let's say, just a kind of idea which kind of frameworks like SUSE already exist that are really handy and usable, and just to give people a kind of overview that they have a kind of easy access, looking around what does already exist, and that they just can, let's say, apply and use it. I think this is something that's super important, and our plan is to have something on hand by mid of this year already. And then we will share also the information where to access the material.
And I think a big shout out here is in place for the people from the ICT4S Edu community. These are the people from the ICT4S conference, ICT for Sustainability, and their education team has already started to gather some resources. We had done so, and we've partnered up with them to create a really comprehensive repository, not just with links of, okay, here you can find this or that, but also here's actual resources, here's material, and also some decision support in terms of, okay, I want to achieve this, so what is out there for me, or what is still missing, and what are we working on? Collaboration is very important. Stan, can you also add a little bit more about, we are a special interest group. If a listener says, hey, this is something that is also for me, I would like to contribute, is that possible?
Yes, indeed, it is possible, and it is wanted that people show up, and also just write me a kind of email or contact me via LinkedIn, or just show the QR code for the special interest group. Just get in contact with us. So we are looking for sure for people who are interested in this topic, who say, it's important for us as a society to, let's say, talk about sustainability and be more, let's say, aware on the sustainability aspect, not only on, let's say, cars, planes, and whatever, who are for sure doing some kind of vicious kind of carboning, but also on digital solutions. And if you look in some statistics, so in whatever 10 years, the digital solutions will create more carbon, a higher carbon footprint than the entire air traffic that's going on. So this means there is potential for the future, and that's why we are absolutely open for anyone to join. So I would be happy. I think Eddy, you too. If we find
absolutely
some motivated people in this round for joining us.
Indeed, I definitely wanted to add, for anyone listening and considering to join, we absolutely welcome you. So we would love to have more people supporting and working on different things. There are people who have an interest in working on creating educational programs. We have people more interested in writing more short social media posts. Of course, we have the group that works on the survey. So we have different teams already, and we have big things planned, because we see that requirements engineering needs to be supported in the direction of sustainability. There is a clear shift left, especially also with the dawn of artificial intelligence, which takes over many of the coding tasks. That means that during the design, during what requirements engineering does, what architecture does, and what UX design does, that has to be done much better, and there's also more resources for that available. So there is a big task ahead of us, especially for our community to step up, and we want to be some of the drivers of that. And we already have a great crew together of people who are doing a lot of work in that sense. I didn't want to make this a promotional session for our special interest group, but it's just this is one of the results that we were already able to show, and we are very proud of being able to show this. But yes, we also want to be doing more than what we have already. That said, I already saw that we had a question through LinkedIn, and everyone, if you want to ask a question, please do so. We see it coming up in the chat. And already quite early, somebody asked, so sustainability is the exact opposite of AI tools, right? And I would just like to open up the floor to all our panelists here. What do you think of this statement?
Okay, so I don't think it's the exact opposite of the tools. So I mean, like in the beginning, when we defined what we mean by digital sustainability or software sustainability, we said there are two parts. The first part is the software itself needs to be built in a sustainable way, and the second part is actually its impact or effects on society or on different things, environment. It should be sustainable. AI tools, you need to build them to be sustainable, of course, on one hand, and then these AI tools, they have to have positive impact overall on environment, on society, on individuals. So I don't think it is exact opposite. I think it all goes hand in hand. We have to kind of think it through when we build any software and not just any AI tool. In the end, AI tools are also software. That's what I would think.
Melanie or Stan, do you have anything to add?
Yes, I totally agree. If it were only so simple, the bad AI, and yeah, it is not. We can use AI for a more sustainable goal. And there are also products, for example, acrobatics in sustainable farming, where AI is part of the solution and really helps to have a positive impact also on the environment. So yeah, it's not that easy.
True. I also think so. I think with all solutions we are building, we could do this in a kind of sustainable way if we are aware what we are doing. And for sure, we could use AI tools. We could use, let's say, or create software including AI that is sustainable, and that will be also a benefit for many people out there. But this could also be the other way around. And I think there's no yes or no direct. It's not black and white. So using AI for sure is power consuming. And this was also some, let's say, implications on the one hand side, it's power consuming. On the other hand side, you could also say on an ethical way, trading this data was currently or usually not done in this kind of European Union. It's more done outside for people who get not enough salary, whatever, so on. Also there, this has some, let's say, bad news. On the other hand side, I think when using artificial intelligence in your processes or in your software, so both could be feasible, you should always think about, should I use AI, or is this more something like structured programming? So what's better in this case? Plus, when using AI, and there are some benefits for using AI for sure, with huge data models, with repetitive things that are a bit fuzzy, then just think about which model do I need to use. I do not always need to use the highest model with the super high rack system behind. So sometimes it's also meaningful for, let's say, a certain service, have, let's say, a model that's not super power consuming. So I think here also awareness, what are the technical capabilities and what are the implications in the end, they should be considered also during this phase.
Maybe I could add something to that comes to my mind, if I could.
Sure.
So I think in the research field, software sustainability has been studied for quite some time now. What has happened lately, let's say in the last couple of years, is that with the explosion of, let's say, Gen AI tools, LLMs, these chatbots, the discussion has also kind of gained the momentum in terms of energy consumption. And I see it as a positive thing that now this discussion has kind of moved from research communities into public domain. Now everyone is actually aware about these phenomena, and that's actually a great thing. There is awareness now being generated for AI tools, let's say, but also at the same time, we are talking about software systems anyway. So I think the net effect in terms of awareness is actually a great thing.
And I would actually also like to add another perspective, and that is the book June actually describes a Butlerian jihad where at some point thinking systems were outlawed and banned. And in our world, I don't see that happening anytime soon. AI is here to stay. So we cannot change that. That there's big energy consumption is a fact. But we can, as Nitish already pointed out, help to make sure that they get designed with more sustainability in mind. I also see that they can promote sustainability. They can help with thinking of solutions of being more sustainable, both in our lives as well as through technology. I mean, it does also help make some things more efficient, also in terms of development. So certain aspects that can promote sustainability will actually also be able to be developed more easily. And I can also say from the IREB perspective, there is another special interest group on AI, and we actually have a lot of touch points to them. So we actually got in touch with the members there. Of course, we also know them. We are in the RE community. But we have some people in the AI special interest group who are interested in sustainability, and we have some people in our group who are interested in AI, and these people are currently in talks about, okay, what is our vision moving forward? What is AI and sustainability in requirements engineering as a topic? What do we need to consider? How can we promote it? How can we make sure that AI systems that are there get considered more in terms of sustainability? Because right now what we're doing with generative AI is just trying to get a grasp of what it can do and what it does and how it works. But we want to, of course, make it more sustainability, not just from a technical and energy saving point of view, but also in the way it shapes us as people from an individual and social level, and also in the economic sense. Okay, so I don't see any further questions at this point. If you have another question, if you want to know more about the survey, or if you are wondering something that is related to this topic, please ask. We are open to any question that you want us to talk about. We do have some things that we want to also consider ourselves in the light of our findings. First of all, for all of us, we just discussed how does it affect IREB, these findings. But for us, this is also a question of, okay, how does this finding that requirements engineering is especially poor at considering sustainability at this point, and that there's a lot of training potential as well. How does that affect RE, and what does it mean for RE that we now have these findings? Who wants to go first?
Maybe I could reflect something on that. The other day I was talking to one of my colleagues at work, and what we thought about is, for a long time, there has been, at least that's my impression, there had been a lot of reservation to actually do systematic RE for various reasons. So a lot of budget was allocated to actual implementation and development. And now Gen AI being there and code being generated at Snap, the development cost is going quite, let's say, it is declining. We can talk about, of course, it's the quality and the effects it has, but overall, the speed at which things are being, let's say, generated or created is quite accelerated, which also means actually it's a golden age for RE, because there will be now more budget for doing systematic RE. And this means that you can, of course, ad hoc prompt and try to generate something. And now you don't even need to be a software engineer. Anyone can actually generate software. But it means that if you do not have that systematic approach, you will be in a hamster wheel of prompting endlessly. We have resources and knowledge from RE. Now everything is basically specification driven. Yeah, so we are specifying behavior all the time. Yeah, we are iterating over it, which means that actually we are in a really nice position to provide resources to these people. Yeah, how do you actually make this more sustainable in that sense? So this is my personal take, at least, that actually it means for RE that we are in a really nice spot right now, that we can actually educate people on how actually to better specify things, how to specify behavior, how to specify requirements, how to maintain those, how to make them traceable to the implementation that you have, how to actually make all the decisions that you made transparent across the whole chain of implementation. So that would be my interpretation.
That is a very interesting take. Would Stan or Melanie like to respond to that?
Of course, Melanie, do you want to go first, or?
Please go first, Stan.
Good. I like the perspective, Nitish, and You're completely right. I mean, we have this shift left, and requirements engineering is getting more important or more visible, so to say, at least for different also in different domains. And I think here, when looking to sustainability, then we could also use this opportunity to think of more, let's say, creating more sustainable solutions. And so this, on the one hand, has to do maybe with the process. So this means just prompting and wipe coding and throwing everything away that's not working. This is maybe not super sustainable. Being more concrete and more aware what, let's say, business people, customers, whomever really need and want. This means being as precise as possible. So that's what RE is about in general. This helps for sure to create better, let's say, kind of spec-driven development. So this means if your specification is clear enough, then you could also create at least prototypes, but usually mostly also running solutions. This is one thing. And here I also think what's important for me, also on top of this, maybe also using AI, but also using our, let's say, mind or awareness, the techniques that we talked about before, having the, let's say, or using the time that is needed to create solutions that are more sustainable. For sure, let's say this is about time, but this is maybe a benefit that we will have with AI support, because creating documents that really fit, transcribing meetings to read requirements or user stories or whatever, this is maybe not the core competence anymore of a requirements engineer, because here also generative AI could really be helpful to create this, let's say, good documents. But, and I think for me, it was never a core competence to write something down, being honest. Core competence for me is more talking to people, giving my insights, reflecting kind of analytical skills that we have. And here, as we might have, let's say, save some time in writing things down in a clear way, please also consider this aspect of being more sustainable and considering which data is needed, which functionality is needed, and so on. And this is something where I think we could have a kind of anchor to be more sustainable or to become more sustainable in the future.
That's very nice. And Melanie, I'd also like to hear your perspective on this.
Yes, I think we can draw the line further and follow the value chain. I mean, it's not only the requirements engineer that him or herself create the client-specific requirements. So we should also educate like the clients themselves, like kind of driving it further and give the possibility to them to really integrate sustainability in their solutions. And not only the typical slide in the end of a presentation with some sustainability points, but really like kind of educating, I would say so.
Actually, as a red thread here, I hear that it's about empowerment of requirements engineers, right? That we are able to do more, that we can do prototyping in a much faster and efficient way, that we don't have to write anything down and don't see that as our core competence anymore, but that we are more analytical. And lastly, as what you say also, that we are able to convince others that it's important to demand sustainability in the system as a customer also, and also as the users, I would expect. Another part that we saw in our survey is that the organizations have a big role in how their employees, so the requirements engineers working at companies, are able to develop themselves in this direction, right? We've seen very strong relationships between an enabling organization that will then in turn enable their people in the software development processes to consider sustainability because they feel empowered by their organization. And so as a last question before we wrap it up, I would actually like to bring in what can organizations do? How can we make sure that organizations put sustainability more on their radar and consider sustainability better in the projects that they have? Maybe let's go to Stan first as our industry representative here.
Yeah. So when looking to organizations, I mean, for sure, everything is going around money, and this means business cases are a really hard point when talking with business. And but also here, as mentioned, so this could be this technical savings that I could have with whatever resources, resource power consumption of power consumption and all this stuff. So this could save revenues in my business case. But also when you're looking to, let's say, more people or social dimension, kind of accessibility of my products that I'm bringing to the outside. This is also a kind of sustainability aspect that need to be considered, but this will also be something that's beneficial for the organizations, because the more accessible something is, the more people I could reach in the end, and the more happy they are. This means this is a kind of, because of net promoter score, whatever, a kind of feedback. If the customers are happy, then for sure you could also sell more products. Another point is, but I think this is something where organizations mostly already look on. Also, their business plans need to be somehow sustainable. This means for sure they need to create solutions and that are somehow sustainable, and let's say look for their employees, look for, let's say, employees in other countries working on this product. I think here it's also important when talking to organizations that they become aware sustainability is not only something that I need to do for reporting. This could also be a benefit for myself when, let's say, selling products, offering services. I think this is could be a starting point, or must be a starting point as well.
Very cool. Nitish, Melanie, would you like to add something there? I think one of the aspects that you could also maybe shed some light on is education. How can we teach people to do more sustainability, and how can we get organizations to provide that training or to buy that training from third-party providers?
Good. I mean, I can say something, maybe not in the sense of formal training per se, but in the end, organization is a group of people. It's about people who work there, and probably there are people who are working at higher management level. They are in a position to propagate certain thoughts and ideas to the lower level employees. How I imagine is there has to be, first of all, the people who are in that, let's say, leading positions, they need to have awareness themselves. They need to get this knowledge and awareness from somewhere. And then probably what I imagine personally is they need to have the possibilities to network with like-minded people. Yeah, arrange workshops, arrange brown bag talks, have conversations, have discussions. And probably I think this has a net positive effect on, there's an established theory called organizational climate. So once there is a climate of certain thing in an organization, actually the employees feel motivated to actually act on it. This has been proven, for example, for security in software. So I think there has to be some sort of conscious efforts, formal in one way, but also informal, like brown bag talks, having meetups outside of the organizations, having discussions about sustainability over a glass of beer in the evening. I think this will create the environment and talking points among people who are probably in the leading positions, and then it will, I think, very organically propagate towards the other employees. And this probably will create a very net positive, sustainable climate in an organization.
That sounds very good, and I would encourage that, absolutely. Melanie, would you like to go last?
Yes, when we're talking about organizations, I think it's very important that we come away from that view that sustainability is something we have to invest a lot. Like, there are investments necessary, yes, but we treat it a bit like we are not sure if there are benefits after these investments. And now we have many studies that show there are benefits, improved reputation, but also innovation capabilities. We have cost benefits, and we really need to see that, or to convince also employees and management and the organization as a whole that these investments in sustainability have a very positive impact. And then it's much easier to onboard these people to drive the topic when they see also the value of it.
I also think there should be some sort of a platform where people can actually share positive case studies with each other, so that it is also inspiring for others to actually see, this is how they have done this. This is how they tackle this challenge. Take inspiration from that.
Right, right.
I like the idea. I think there should be also a kind of platform where people, doesn't matter on which level they are, where they could exchange about this kind of stories and motivate each other. I think this is super important.
The discussion of the last few minutes has been absolutely wonderful. I like how solution-oriented we are and how much we end on a positive note. Considering that we began with survey results, which I could say surprised us a little bit in a negative sense, because there's definitely a lot of room for improvement, but we see a lot of ways to combat that and to make sure that people have the knowledge, feel empowered, and also that organizations create spaces to discuss sustainability, to make it more something that is part of their culture and that allows the people within the organization to flourish and also carry that outwards again, also to customers and partners that they have. So I would just like to leave it with that without trying to completely recap what we've done. I think just this feeling that we have at this point where we say, hey, there's so much that we can do. Just get cracking, get started, and try to see how you can make sustainability more a part of your journey, and how you can also take that over to others. Before I conclude, I would just first of all like to thank all the panelists for being part of this, but also for all the work that this team has done in preparing last year's survey and analyzing it, creating these fantastic slides to get a quick overview, and the dashboard as well, which students of Nitish have also implemented. Take a look at that, definitely. Now you also see that there's a QR code to the next survey. We would really like to invite you to participate there. As you know, it's 10 to 15 minutes max, and we really want to understand how is sustainability progressing in software engineering practice, especially also in requirements and digital design, to know are the things that we're doing taking effect? What else do we need to work on? And how can we promote sustainability to become something that is more carried by our community? All right, so again, thank you, Stan. Thank you, Nitish. Thank you, Melanie. It was great talking to you today about this. And also to all the listeners, thank you for tuning in. We hope that you were inspired. If you have any questions or would like to give your feedback to what we discussed, please come to us. You can contact any of us, but there's also the email address of our special interest group on our website. So there's enough ways to find us and contact us. You don't need to be a detective for that. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much. And we hope that you have a nice evening, and we hope to see you soon.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you. Bye-bye.